What's up everyone, this is Rayuka here, and today I'm going to give my impressions and thoughts of the Street Fighter V Phase 3 Beta. So I'm going to get right into it. So the good thing is that you got a few more characters to play, especially some new ones thrown in the Phase 3 Beta. But then to me anyway, it felt like this was a step forward and a step back. And when I say that is, at least for me anyway, I noticed there was a lot of characters that were either nerfed or buffed, or it just seems like this beta had balancing issues with characters. Some characters felt more stronger than others, some felt weaker than others. I didn't get how the hell that happened in this beta, where in Phase 2 anyway, I didn't get to feel that at all. I mean, all the characters felt pretty balanced. And now it's like the total opposite in Phase 3, to me anyway. And to get more in depth with that, what I mean is, for instance, Laura. When I played her, I felt like she was weak. I feel like she was the weakest character in the roster, in my opinion. Now, some may disagree with me on that, and everyone's entitled to their own opinion, but to me, I felt like Laura was completely weak. Yeah, she has some nice tie-in moves where she'll like do an elbow, then you could go into a grab, and then she has a little electric shock thing or whatever, and then you could tie in a combo following up with that as well. Though she has nice tie-ins, to me I also felt like she was limited with how many moves she have, and it almost felt like she's a rushed character in my opinion. I felt like she just doesn't feel finished to me. It feels like she could have more to offer as a character, and I didn't see that. I felt like she was just kind of, you almost felt like you had to play between the same moves with her over and over again, and you just had to figure out how to tie in certain moves with other ones and then kind of rinse and repeat. So besides that, I feel like Laura is really a weak character in my opinion, and she definitely needs more variety when it comes to moves. But besides that, she definitely needs a buff, because she's weak. To me, she was just weak as a character. She didn't feel like she did a lot of damage. Where Chun-Li in this beta, she's strong. Chun-Li, she was probably to me the most strongest of the female cast in Phase 3 of the beta, and that was very noticeable depending on how much you play Chun-Li. Ken, though, in this beta felt totally nerfed. I mean, maybe it's just me, but they felt like they nerfed the hell out of Ken in this one. It's like Ken was just totally whatever power he was at in Phase 2, it was just totally knocked down in Phase 3, and they just made sure that he was just weak. Not that he was terribly weak, but he was noticeable. You could notice it. If you played Ken, you could definitely notice that he was nerfed. Ryu, normal. Nash felt like he had a little bit of a buff, but at the same time, you really can't notice it. At least for me anyway, I couldn't really notice it. Bison felt the same to me as well. But then when I played Vega, and that's something that caught my attention with Vega, was Vega has, to me, the reach on his claws seems to be fairly stupid in my opinion. He can kneel and you can just claw somebody, you don't even have to get that close, and I feel like for Vega to have that much reach with those claws, to me seems to be a little bit of an issue, kind of depending on your playstyle, whether if you're close range or if you're a distant player. But to me, that just him poking with those claws is annoying, and for him to have that much distance with the claws also doesn't make sense to me either, because his claws are short, so I don't get how he has that much distance. Where when he loses it, the claws, he doesn't have that much reach anymore, but when he has them on, he has a fairly decent amount of reach, and to me I think that's something that has to be fixed, because I think he has too much reach for someone that has the claw, in my opinion. It's kind of ridiculous. Then you have Dosum. To me, Dosum was an interesting character to play. Felt like Dosum. It didn't really feel like they changed much with him. I mean, you had to give him some new moves, a new special, especially he shoots his big fireball, and you could time when you're gonna do his special, and then when he does his V gauge, and then he throws out this like road of fire, and then if you do a special behind that, you could do a lot of damage, especially if you know what you're doing. So Dosum felt like, to me, a fairly balanced character. He didn't feel overpowered, but he did feel a little bit weak, but not too much. Dosum felt like a pretty balanced fighter. Overall, I feel like there was just character balancing issues in this beta, very noticeable issues with balancing the characters. And to me, I noticed a lot of these things. Zangief was another interesting character. Yet again, he does a lot of damage when he grabs, but he's Zangief. That makes sense. That makes up for his lack of speed. But at times, it just felt like he was too slow. And when I say this, I'm talking about when he does his spin attack, well, his little tornado punch, whatever. So to me, Zangief is more of a character that is definitely close range. He is not meant for a distant fight. So Zangief, to me, surprisingly, is a bit slow. But overall, he felt balanced as well. He felt like a balanced character. I didn't feel like he felt overbalanced anyway. He didn't feel too powerful. He felt like Zangief. You know, it's perfect balance. But overall, it felt like the characters were kind of, some felt too strong, some felt too weak, and you see that in Phase 3 debate. It just felt like they had character balancing issues here, and I don't know if that was done on purpose. So then if Capcom wanted to see if people noticed that, or this is just something they already had built and they were just focusing on the servers. And now that I mentioned the servers, I have to talk about that because I could not log in on day 18 at all when this beta was open. It was actually, and that's another thing that I have to talk about with this beta, because this beta was going to, or did, cross-platform the PS4 with the PC players. So on both platforms, people got to face off against each other. And the interesting part was the servers were down on the PS4. Maybe it was me. Not the servers were down on PS4, excuse me. But the servers were down for Street Fighter. Anyway, for the beta, I cannot find any match. I couldn't even log in on day 18. So it was pretty bad. And then when I did get to play, which was on the 19th, it took forever to find a match. I mean, I'll go in the rank match and I'll be waiting there for almost 20-30 minutes, and that's pretty ridiculous, and I'm pretty sure that's not my internet connection. So it was really dumb how long I had to wait to get a match. And when I got a match, everything went fine, but overall it took way too long, and that was something very noticeable. It seems like they still have server issues, and to me that was a step back. Because it's like in Phase 2 of the beta, it seems like they had it down. They almost had it down with the servers, and then in Phase 3, it was just yet again all messy, all over the place. And though you could get matches at times, for me anyway, I could not find a ranked match at all. I had more luck finding casual matches than ranked matches in this beta. Another thing is that it took a pretty long time to find a match. Either no one was playing this beta, or yet again something is wrong with the servers. So I think the team that's working with Street Fighter really needs to focus on these servers and really need to figure out what they're going to do with this in the long term, and how they're going to make sure how this runs. Because to me, that playing online, at least in Street Fighter, is going to be a big deal for some people. And having server problems like that, it's going to be an issue. And another thing that kind of concerns me about this, if they're still having server issues now, and with the release being in February, it makes me wonder if that's going to be persistent when the actual game releases. Because if that's the case, I think that's going to be a big problem. Because I just find it crazy how it's one step forward and one step back on that. Besides that, overall, the beta has been fairly decent. Phase 3. I felt like Phase 2 was actually better than Phase 3 in my opinion. At least to me, I felt like Phase 2 felt more balanced. And the servers worked a lot better But in phase 3, it's kind of backwards, forwards a bit, and especially more with characters now. You can really see the balancing issues with characters. Like some characters stronger than others. It's pretty crazy stuff going on there. So those are my impressions and thoughts of the beta. I felt like it was just a step forward and a step back. I felt like phase 3 was just that, step forward and step back, surprisingly. I was expecting for a lot of improvements, and though there were some improvements, like the menu had a redesign, you got to play with a little bit more characters. The music in the menu is great. The menu music is like great stuff. You got to see more of the match. You also got to see, they gave you a little teaser of what's gonna come, and you get to cross by like the story mode, but you don't get to see what the hell is in the story mode in the game. And then you also get to see this character in the option menu, but come to figure out that character is actually Corinne's butler or something like that. So it's little things like that are interesting in the redesigned menu and whatnot. But at the same time, there was the problems with balancing characters, and then clearly there was server issues, and so on and so forth. But those are my impressions and thoughts of the Street Fighter V beta phase 3 or phase 3 beta. And just that I think Capcom needs to improve more on the servers. I think that's something they really need to start putting more work into. Not that they haven't, but they need to put more work into that. And especially now, they need to balance out the characters. Some characters felt too weak, some characters felt too strong, at least to me anyway. And especially Laura. Laura is just, to me, for me anyway, low tier. I don't care what anyone thinks. To me, she did not feel that strong of a character to begin with. I think she needs more work as a character, but only time will tell with whatever Capcom decides to do with the character roster and how much work they're going to put into the characters themselves. And usually Capcom puts a lot of work into their characters, so I'm hoping that they do more with not only Laura but with the whole cast, because Ken was nerfed to like hell. Ken is totally nerfed in this beta. But those are my impressions and thoughts anyway. My opinion anyway. So how do you guys feel about the beta? Did you enjoy the beta? Did you feel like the beta was good, or did you feel like the beta was bad? Feel free to comment down below and express your thoughts and opinions about it. And don't forget to like and subscribe if you'd like to see more of this content in the future, of course. And this is Rayuka here saying until next time, everyone, sayonara.